There's a lot of moving parts that you know, this government save lots of money in other ways.
Meeting of KIPDA Planning and Development Agency on today's date, Thursday, February 27th at 2 p.m. And we'll proceed on with the roll call.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Kevin Beatty. Got to see him on the screen. Honorable Travis Buchanan for the Honorable Scott Bates.
Here.
Honorable John Black here. Honorable Bernard Bowling.
Here.
Honorable Byron Chapman. Honorable Jack Kaufman.
Here.
Mr. Jack Couch. Here. Welcome back to KIPDA, very
Yes.
familiar face around here. Honorable Troy Ethington. Mr. Chris John Streets for the Honorable Jeff Gahan.
Here.
Thank you. Honorable Nicole George for the Honorable Craig Greenberg.
Present.
Mr. Keith Griffey. Mr. Data for the Honorable Trigo Hodges. Here. Honorable Dan Ison. Here. Honorable Maria Johnson. Honorable Mike Moore. Honorable John Ogburn. Honorable Carol Pike. Honorable Jason Sharp.
Here.
Honorable Kate Parrish for the Honorable Jerry Summers. And I do, to go back, I do see Mayor Ethington on here, so I'll get him included. Honorable Rick Tanini. Here. Honorable Jim Travis.
Here.
Honorable Scott Travis.
Here.
And the Honorable David Vogel. We do have a quorum.
Thank you very much, Jerry. Also want to welcome Jason Sharp. He's new commissioner in Floyd County, Indiana. So thank you for being with us, Jason, online.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
And like Jared already mentioned, we were certainly good seeing you, Jack. All right, so you take care. Okay. Thank you all very much for being here today. It's a beautiful day out and appreciate y'all filling up this room today. So thank you for being here. So we'll go ahead and proceed with regular business. And our first item number 4, the January board meeting minutes. You had a chance to take a look at those and have an opportunity to approve those. So I will entertain a motion for the approval of the January Board of Directors meeting minutes. Motion from Mr. Ison. Second. Second. Any other questions? John? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those like them? Motion carried. Next is our January financial statement.
Thank you.
You got those?
Yes.
Ms. Shaw?
Okay, thank you. As of January 31st of 2025, we're about 58% through fiscal year 25. And go to page 23 is our summary of elements. Our CED spend is $533,390 for a 62.25%. And as you notice on the graph, the right side has our budget and the left side is where the actual expenses are. That shows me. Transportation spend is $1,971,456 for a 37.26%. Our social services spend is a total of $15,515,596, and that is including our social service totals and our aging program related, which you'll see down here. It says the $12,319,183. So that was the total of that, and it has a percentage of 42.58%. Our other operating is $15,312 for 19.51%. So our overall total spend is $18,249,427 through January 31st of 2025. So our agency line item revenue expenses start on page 24 and they go through 29. But the part that I'm gonna tell you about is the page 26, which is our current revenue. So our 2,674,251 is our current revenue. Our year-to-date is the 18,383,115. You can see our budget is the bar that's on the far right on the graph. And that is 54.31% of the revenue. On page 29, we have our current expenditures at 2,598,696. Our year-to-date is 18,249,426 or 27, let's say. And of course, our budget is balanced with our revenues. And the revenues or the expenditures are at 53.92%. Then we go to page 31. In our pie chart, we have our cash at 2,430,980 at 12%. Our total accounts receivable is 3,301,860 at 16%. And our other total assets are 4,376,211 at 22%. And then our total liabilities and projects are 10,083,273. That's 50% of our chart. Have any questions?
Any questions? If no, we need a motion to approve the January financial statements. Do I have that motion?
Motion to approve.
Please. Second?
Second.
Any other questions? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign? Motion carried. Thank you very much, Ms. Shaw. Next up is item number 6, the KIPDA Brownfield Assessment Coalition Grant. So, there's John.
So, my name is John Case and with Atlas Technical. We've talked a little bit about the Brownfield program that KIPDA was awarded last year. I'll tell you about today, but first again, the name is John Case with Atlas. We've been doing engineering consulting here in the area for nearly 40 years. And also have Ryan Holmes who will come up and do the second part of this. It could be our community involvement planning. And but anyway, just want to start off as you probably know, KIPDA received a $1.5 million brownfield assessment grant last year. And those funds are will be used to and we'll get to what brownfields are here in just a minute too. But we could do things like the assessments, phase 1 to phase 2, environmental site assessments, asbestos surveys, things like that for and planning, future planning, community development plans and things like that. So but first thing, what is a brownfield site? I don't know how you guys probably heard the term, but there's a lot of different sites that could fall under that, whether it be old gas stations, industrial property, even just commercial properties, downtown buildings, automotive repair, dry cleaners are a lot of common sites that we'll see. But these funds will, so we'll be able to, these are like, typically we'll look for sites that are underutilized or maybe an eyesore in the community that we could do the assessments on, kind of get some of the environmental hurdles out of the way for future development of that property. These are EPA funds, so it's not, these aren't any kind of compliance thing that the EPA is going to come in. We don't start looking for issues, you know, anything like that. These are just sort of initial due diligence type work that will be used to, you know, spur some growth in these old properties or, you know, again, it promotes economic development. You know, you can reuse property, you know, infill properties and using existing infrastructure and, you know, maybe bring in other jobs and promotes that sort of thing too. But actually, I forgot we have slides up here, sorry about that. But yeah, so with brownfield site, there's circle definition, like I say, it could be a property that has a presence or potential presence of hazardous substances, pollutants, you know, like asbestos, petroleum, and things like that. Some of that may be perceived, and it's not always, one thing to keep in mind, it's not always properties like the one in the bottom there, old industrial abandoned sites. It could be just old downtown buildings, maybe being still used, but maybe underutilized, and maybe the cities or communities may have some other bigger ideas for downtown redevelopment, something like that. Again, here's, again, some of the examples I was talking about: gas stations, some of the commons here, gas stations, automotive repair, dry cleaners are some of the big ones you most commonly see, but, you know, illegal dumps, we know some of those things that are out there in our communities, in the old industrial buildings, things like that. So most communities, you know, one of the responses we get a lot of times is, you know, well, we don't have brownfields, but, but part of what we'll be doing, part of what the funds will be spent for is doing an inventory and trying to help you guys find sites. You can bring sites to the table too. We'll discuss whether they have potential to be assessed or not, and go from there. But yeah, so yeah, that's really, you know, again, this is more of an economic development tool, not an environmental compliance audit for anybody or anything like that. It's just really is going to help communities remove some of these hurdles out of the way so that they can have these properties to offer up maybe, or to development, redevelopment, or whatever the plans might be. So, so a big part of that too is going to be a community involvement, which involves you guys, your mayors and county judge executives and citizens of each community to get involved. And so we have a community involvement plan, and that's where Brian Holmes here, VHI, will give you a little bit of rundown of what that entails.
Ryan Holmes with VHI Consultants. We're a locally based urban planning and civil engineering firm, but a lot of what we do is community engagement. And so what we try to do is, how do you take complex projects such as this and really make it relatable to the community? When we talk about brownfields, it doesn't quite resonate unless you're truly in the technical background of the field. So one of the things when we started this project is, you know, what is that moniker? So with the help of the KIPDA staff, we looked at coming up with a name for this project that'll evoke some emotion, that'll evoke some reactions to it. And so we came up with Grounds for Growth. And so that's the logo that you see on the screen. And so that's kind of how we want to brand this project. And so one of the things we wanted to do is, it's more than just the logo. This is how we're going to plan to carry this project forward. We did a play on KIPDA's logo. If you look at the growth is kind of growing up, symbolizing sort of that economic development. And then if you see it above the S, it's kind of, it looks like a block for a building, or it could also be a symbolize an arrow as well. So it goes back to that growth. And so that shows you what it looks like in printed material, what it's gonna look like digitally. And so again, it's something that the community can get excited about. So again, it's, hey, what is Grounds for Growth? But also it's like, if people realize that, like, that's a tie back to KIPDA. And so that's what we always want to keep this tied back to, is just how those two correlate. And so again, this is branding that we want to carry forward through this project, and we really want to get the community excited about it. So again, why does community engagement matter? It's because a lot of times for projects like this, it's folks will wait till the shovels are on the ground, and by that time it's too late, and then they're starting to complain. And so it doesn't always have to be this contentious relationship. It doesn't have to be this us versus them. And so what we want to do is bring folks to the table. You know, this is for your community. When we talk about redevelopment opportunities, tell us what you want to see. Get involved early and often. And so again, it's how do we make this exciting? I always joke and say, engagement can be fun, it should be fun, so it doesn't always have to be this boring, everyone's standing around in suits, we can go to festivals, we can do different things like pop-ups and stuff. So again, how do you get people excited and connected to the project is what we're really trying to do. So again, so John had mentioned the community involvement plan. So a project like this is very long-term. And so what we want to do before we put boots on the ground and start asking people to participate is we wanted to come up with a plan, a document, a blueprint of how do we go about doing this. So again, we've got a draft document here that's not quite ready for public consumption, but again, once this document is finalized, it'll be for everyone, it'll be for the public, it'll be for KIPDA staff. So if people say, hey, what do we got going on? You can refer to this. We got a project fact sheet. So again, this is sort of our home base. This is our guidance document, our blueprint of how we're going to move forward. We talk about things that how you measure success. A lot of times we simply think of engagement as getting as many people out as possible. Well, you don't always have to define success that way. So again, what do those metrics look like? And so that's what we're going back and forth with staff on. What does that look like to us and to the public? So once this is ready, we want to put this on the website. We're going to put this physically and give this a copy to everyone. So again, if anyone has questions about this project, you can always refer back to the community involvement plan. And this is our way moving forward. Opportunities for getting involved. So I think the biggest purpose for us is really getting people involved, and for being here today is sort of this call to action. So we want people to get involved, and we're coming up with the Grounds for Growth Council. And so I think that's the biggest thing we want to get across today is we need representatives from the community, local government agencies, nonprofits, advocacy groups, business community organizations. So again, we want a wide representation of who serves on that council. With that, these are our leaders, these are our sounding boards. So when we start proposing different ideas, you can say, yeah, hey, if we're looking at certain sites, well, we shouldn't look at this site at all, so that this is our sounding board, sort of the checks and balances on our end. So again, this council is probably one of the biggest things I want to get across today is we need representation. We need input for folks to serve on this committee. And then if you don't serve on the council, there's other opportunities. So we want to get involved with our community partners and local organizations. So if you're not involved on the advisory committee itself, how can you get involved? You can help us host a meeting. You can help us spread the word through digital engagement, things like that. So again, this is a call to action. We want to get people excited. We want to get you all involved and engaged. And so I just want to thank you all for the time. I'll open up for questions.
Did the KIPDA agency here get a grant? Is that what you all said initially? And how much was that?
Yes, so,
Go ahead.
yeah, it's a $1.5 million assessment grant.
Okay, but does that mean us cities and counties can apply ourselves for part of that money to come into our areas and do some of this assessments, and perhaps we apply for that through KIPDA, or is it not that opportunity for us to do that?
Yes, it's for the 7 KIPDA counties in Kentucky and the 2 counties in Indiana, so total of 9 counties. Our goal was to do 6 site assessments in Jefferson County, and each county outside of Jefferson County will get 3 site assessments. So we have reached out to the county judges to see who they want to be on this committee that Brian talked about, to help us guide this project through and give us ideas on sites within your community. So they are actually starting phase 1s now. So if you all have any phase 1s that you want to be assessed, please let me or Jennifer know. But also, if you are interested in serving on this council, or you have someone within your organization that would be great for it, please let us know.
Does that mean I'm in the process right now of tearing down a building that has asbestos in it? And my bid from the guy that come to do it is $27,000 to remove some parts of that being asbestos.
Mhm.
And then
Did you have a
15
Facebook?
dumpsters to go with it.
Did you have a phase 1 done on that property prior to?
Yes.
So the goal of this grant is to do phase 1s and phase 2s. So then next year we can apply for cleanup funds.
Well,
Grant,
it's gonna be torn down next week.
yeah. So what this is more,
See if I can get $27,000.
there's a couple steps that we have to get to, that we have to do by the federal government in order to get that funding to do the cleanup.
I'm too late, right?
But we're trying to take, yeah, phase 1 and phase 2. So, if you have We could have paid for that.
You could have,
This grant could have paid for that phase one.
but now that I'm gonna do it right away, it's not gonna try.
Correct.
Okay. I was gonna say, I could delay it for a week.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, the cleanup process, that's another grant that, you know, as part of this, they, you know, once we had the assessment grants, then, you know, when we identify certain sites through phase one, phase two process, that if they need some cleanup, then we can talk about doing a cleanup grant. It can be a separate.
Yes, we're looking for knowledgeable people to be on this council. It might be your economic development person. It might be a nonprofit in your community that's very involved in economic development and redevelopment and know the in and outs of your city or your council. So we want someone that's gonna bring a lot of benefit to this council, so we make sure we're covering all of our constituents, so. If you all have any, and I know Jennifer has sent out an email to the county judges asking for feedback, or who do you want that person? We have heard from some. We have not heard from all. So I think we've got 15 or 20 people that I think we've come up with, which is a good number for our council. So we will be following up if we haven't heard from you probably within the next week. To see who that needs to be, who needs to be on all communication. We will have a larger group, all the judges and the mayors will be on the communication, so they'll be in the know for the next 2 years of what's being done on this grant, but just, we want that core group that can kind of make decisions. Any other questions?
I have any other questions?
I have one, so this grant money is just for the assessments. The actual cleanup is down the road.
Yes.
I was just curious, kind of going along with what he talked about. So a country gas station, what's typical cleanup cost? If there's a country gas station that closed down, you know, 40 years.
Usually an old gas station, I mean, now it depends really, I mean, yeah, you got the underground storage tanks, but boy, I mean, if it's just a small, like, country store, you know, I've seen, you know, like the USD fund here in Kentucky, they'll let you spend up to, if you're in that fund, I think they allot up to $1 million, but you know, small country store probably not gonna get anywhere close to that as far as cleanup goes. But again, it depends on the extent of contamination, which, you know, we won't know until you actually do the assessments and things like that, but yeah, I would say a smaller one's probably not gonna be very close to that north of 500,000, but.
And I think our future goal is to do kind of the same what we've done here, where we take our 9 counties and apply for that cleanup funding. So where if you have a small project, we would have that funding. And then we have, you know, so we can kind of go through that whole application process. We have the money here at KIPDA, we can give it out to our communities. Judge Osborne already said he was gonna sit on the committee, so.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much. Next item on our agenda is the Transportation Policy Committee. Andy?
Thank you very much. At 12:30 this afternoon, KIPDA TPC met in this room and had a action-packed agenda, so action-packed that we didn't even get to one of our items, didn't we? So I'll cover some of the highlights today. Our TTCC, our Transportation Technical Coordinating Committee officers for 2025 were ratified by the TPC, the Policy Committee. Those officers are going to be, that committee will be chaired by Aida Kopic. She's the Director of Planning at TARC. And then the vice chairperson will be Jim Silliman from county engineer from Oldham County. So those were ratified today. Brought to the committee a draft of our fiscal 26 Unified Planning Work Program, UPWP. That's the MPO's budget and financial document that shows how much money we get from where and what we're going to spend it on in the upcoming fiscal year. There's a lot of uncertainty, more than usual at this time of the year. The drafts get submitted in February, finals in April. that uncertainty is surrounding kind of the changes in Washington and what's gonna happen, maybe not to the funding, but possibly, but to the, some of the language that's taboo all of a sudden that we can't have in our, core documents that, you know, for one example, we were tipped off on greenhouse gas emissions. We need to not say anything about greenhouse gas emissions, so we'll say emissions reductions. We'll take qualifiers off. Apparently there's some buzzwords that are no-nos right now, so we'll work around that in the coming months. Also of note, important to this committee is, our Kentucky funding went up just slightly, in terms of the federal funds that KYTC, shares the wealth and provides to the NPOs. But more importantly, KYTC, they provide some of the local match. And so the local match, traditionally, they cover 5% of the 20% local match, or a quarter of the match, however you look at that. Starting this upcoming year, they're gonna commit to committing to half of the match. So that is going to be a big win for KIPDA and the other NPOs around Kentucky. I think that it's gonna save us something to the tune of $80,000 or $90,000 in local dues. Those are the local dues that we talked about here before that are paid by you all as local governments to KIPDA. So hopefully that'll be a nice win. That'll allow us to deploy those throughout KIPDA more generally. So that's really good news. Moving on, we finalized what's known as our call for projects. That's what many of your all's agencies benefited from. It's a 3-month process initiated. All your applications were due back in early December, if I recall correctly. Over $70 million was awarded officially this afternoon across both states, and those projects are going to make their way into KIPDA's TIP through an administrative modification or amendment, or in the new TIP. They'll get in there as quick as we possibly can get them in there. That's good to finalize that. What's also notable on that process is Brady Hill, KIPDA NPO staff. He's been doing some forensic accounting over the last 6 months to even a year. As you all know, over the years, KIPDA has basically had some IOUs that KYTC has said, hey, KIPDA, you've got some money that you're carrying over. Can we use that money? And we'll match it dollar for dollar when you're ready to use it. So we've got a series of effectively, we call them IOUs. And so some of the accounting of that kind of, didn't get messed up necessarily, but turns out we have $18 million more than we thought we did. That's good news, right? And so what was approved today was we're gonna do another call for projects for the KIPDA NPO counties, Full, Jefferson, Oldham, this coming fall. So we'll follow up last year's call with this year's call, and then we'll do another full call for the full $70-80 million that next year. So hopefully it'll be more bites of the apple for the Kentucky jurisdictions at least. So that's some good news. Amendment 8, I told you it was action packed. Amendment 8 was probably the largest amendment to our long range plan and TIP that we've had in a long time, maybe ever, don't know. It had 69 projects in it. The reason it was such a large amendment was the 2024 highway plan. Some of those changes were just now making their way into that. KYTC submitted those to us over the last few months of the calendar 2024. So those were added. INDOT had a whole lot of changes. All the local governments did as well. So 69 project amendment that'll be passed on to the feds for their approval. How quick they're going to approve it is a question right now. There's some things there's some back and forth on when these what's known as the STIPs. We talk about the TIP, that's the regional one. There's a STIP, statewide transportation improvement program. There's some doubt on how quick or what these states need to be reviewing. In fact, I think it's going to be okay in terms of the timing, typical timing, 30 to 45 days. But if you would ask me last week, I would have said we're talking like 2 to 3 months, what normally takes a month. So we'll see how that goes. We can't do anything about it right now. We've finalized what we need to do. It's in the federal hands at this time, or will be probably by the end of the day. We announced the call for studies. This is important for those in the room. The NPO county, some of those metropolitan planning dollars that we get and that we either match as an NPO or through those local dues. Sometimes we have funds that are surplus to our needs. And so each year we make funding available to do planning studies in the region. And both sides of the river and the NPO counties only. This year we're going to probably make about $200,000 federal available. That'll require 20% local match. You should expect it to require 20% local match on your end. This is to do a wide variety of things, but one of the things you can't do is build a capital project with it. You can do planning, You can do some level of preliminary engineering, where's that in and where does design begin? That might be something. But nonetheless, so this year, this current year, we've got money that went to U of L, to Clarksville and to Floyd County for some ongoing studies, U of L studies completed. And so that money will be made available. That application window will be in March. Okay, so get your projects in through our planning portal or our application portal by the end of March. If any more questions, you can reach out to me or get the transportation staff. Moving on, KYTC shift process. Those rural judge executives in the room, you met with me and Mick and KYTC staff probably a couple months ago, and so you all were way ahead of the game. I think with Judge Ogren, when we came to Trumbull County, I'm pretty sure we were the first of the 120 counties to get done. So that was good. So we're ahead of the game on the rural portion of the shift process. In the MPO area, we're getting caught up, perhaps. One of the things we're looking at doing, and we will have ready either hopefully tomorrow, but maybe early next week, an online tool for our state legislators to take a look at the projects that are eligible to be boosted or sponsored in shift. And because we want their feedback, KYTC and KIPDA both recognize that the feedback from these legislators, we're getting it cycle after cycle, we're getting a little too late. We want to include it, but when they're kind of told to go talk to their ad or their MPO, it's a little bit too late. And so we're trying to be proactive this year. So we're at least going to have an online tool. We're trying to figure out a way to get a meeting and get an audience either here or in Frankfurt. We'll see if we can make that happen. But their schedule is going to be tight, given that we'll need to do this in March. So be looking out in your email for an email from KIPDA staff on that tool. I think that could be something that you all might find handy otherwise as well. The item that we tabled was a TPC membership discussion, we called it. The membership of that body has not been changed in a long time, maybe 20 plus years. And so with the new census or the 2020 census, with some changes with some cities that have really grown, maybe it's the time to look at our membership. And so I just wanted to initiate that. So we'll go ahead and officially initiate that next month. And then we'll have the conversation with you guys as the board. The board of directors certainly would have the final say on who is on the TPC. And then last but not least, we recognized Mayor Byron Chapman, Mayor of the City of Middletown, representing the Jefferson County League of Cities here at KIPDA. We recognized him as our outgoing 2024 TPC chairman. That was a long report, but that concludes the report on today's TPC. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Rush.
Thank you.
I need a motion to accept the TPC report. Have a motion?
Make that motion.
Okay, second?
Second.
Any other questions or discussion? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign? Motion carried. Next is a report from the Regional Transportation Council.
Good afternoon. The KIPDA Regional Transportation Council meeting was held at 1 p.m. today in the KIPDA Small Conference Room and on Zoom. Mr. Jack Couch of Trumbull County was added to the committee by a unanimous vote. The committee re-elected Judge Travis of Spencer County as chairman and Brian Lipke of Shelby County as vice chairman for the 2025-2026 term. The next item was the November 26th Regional Transportation Council meeting minutes. Then there was the public comment period, and there were no public comments to the RTC. The committee reviewed the schedule for the shift process that informs the next state highway plan and determined the allocation of sponsorships between counties. The committee decided to allocate 10 sponsorships to Shelby County, 7 sponsorships to Spencer County, 5 to Trumbull, and 5 to Henry. And then as part of the Safe Streets and Roads for All grant program, the committee reviewed and approved a resolution to establish a goal of working towards 0 traffic fatalities and serious injuries. Members provide a report of county transportation updates. And the next KIPDA Transportation Council meeting is scheduled for April 24th at 1 p.m. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Lawson. Do I have any questions? Okay. All right. Have a motion to accept the report.
I'll second.
Second. Any other questions? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you very much, sir. Next item on our agenda is the one-step GPS demonstration. It's Ms. Schiller.
I'm actually gonna be over here to do this, because I'm going to show you just a brief, presentation on our GPS system that we, have contracted with about 4 months ago, with our vans. So this kind of just shows you, this is my interface, how I utilize it. Each one of our vans is equipped with a GPS device. We use, one One-Step GPS is the name of the vendor. Very reasonable, $14 a month, per device. But just to give you an idea of all of our different devices, you can see, sorry, well, I can hard, let me see if I can get closer. I can't see anymore. And then I can't see far away if I have my readers on. Okay. So you can kind of see all of our different, oh, great. All of our vehicles are named K-173, 162, all the different sections, Corps of Engineers. Well, I'm gonna go and kind of show you right here, a big map of our region where all of our vehicles are right now. And I don't think we have any moving, so it's not very exciting to show you that. Oh, we do. We have one that is moving right now. And they are right next to us. And you can see they're going 24 miles an hour. They're leaving actually KCC. Looks like they're just pulling out of the driveway. So what we utilize this for, the most important part of it is that we know where our vehicles are at all times. The other aspect of it, as far as our billing, how we bill our vehicles is based on odometer readings and the number of miles that are driven each month. What we noticed after our audit of our program over the past 20 years is that a lot of times our odometer readings were off. What that affects is not only our billing, but it also affects our maintenance. Our maintenance, our MOU with TARC requires our vehicles to be maintained at 7,500 miles or within 1 year. When COVID hit and we had a fleet of 90 vehicles and they were not being driven, let's say for a year, 2 years, other than that 5 miles, we had to make sure that those that they were being maintained at a certain interval. If the odometer readings that we weren't recording correctly, or let's say that during that time, that 18-month, the odometer readings might have been off, or we didn't necessarily know how many miles that they were driving, the data was not accurate. So now we have accurate data for each day. At the end of the night, I can run reports at 11:59 p.m., give me my odometer readings for every one of my vehicles. I know the exact locations. We have had a situation in which we had a vehicle that was in the area off of 245, I think, or Bullitt County, right off of the highway that was a construction area. The van was towed and we did not know where it was towed to. Nobody knew. So if we didn't have GPS, we would have reported it stolen and had to go to that process. Luckily, we were able to see where the vehicle was and saved us several hundreds of dollars, if not $1,000, because I can tell you the tow place was not going to call us to tell us that it was there because it's charging at a per day fee. Our drivers are, you know, if they ever call us and say, hey, I'm Fort Knox, especially Fort Knox, where you have several people that are different stops, we're able to say, if they ever call us and say, can you tell us where the van is or where it's parked? We're able to tell them, give them a pinpoint location of where that is. And especially for van exchanges for us at Fort Knox, even though they say they're at Fort Knox, as you know, Fort Knox is a very large place, and HRCs, you know, you could drive in circles and not be able to find one of our vehicles, so we can pinpoint it exactly. But we utilize it every day.
It has been very helpful and, there are some features that we haven't yet made, like really mastered. Our maintenance does not integrate with our other systems, so it's a little bit manageable, like a manual input for the maintenance activities, but hopefully in the next couple of years that our software, Ride Pro, will actually be able to be integrated with this software. So, but if any questions, or you ever want to know where some vans parked or how many miles they drive, we have all of it. We have data speeding. I mean, we can track I've had to remove 2 drivers already since we've had the GPS for excessive speeding. You cannot drive 85 miles an hour in one of our vehicles. I mean, it will fall apart. And it's just a danger to the people in the vehicle and to those surrounding. So we've had to do that. So that's just kind of the data, how we utilize it. But also on a really positive note, just to let you know with our program, our van pool program, in the last 3 weeks, since the directive that our federal employees return to work to the workplace, we have added 11 people to van pools. We have 13 that are starting on Monday. 1,500, just to give you an idea, 1,500 employees at Human Resource Command of Fort Knox are returning to their office on Monday.
1,500?
1,500 was the email that we got that have not gone to their office since COVID.
Hmm.
So that's Corps of Engineers, March 3rd is the day that they have to return to the office. The VA was always going to the office, of course, because it's at Zorn. But to give you an idea, so our program, of course, was cut in half during COVID because of the hybrid work schedule. But because of this, we have new routes that are forming. We have routes in Shepherdsville that they're trying to get back up. Our Oldham counties are splitting. We have St. Matthews, Tenannies, you're getting another van pool on your lot.
That's fine.
Yeah, that van pool is full. I mean, it's the same at 40207. They're full going to Fort Knox. So we're seeing a lot of increase. Our staff's been great. It's a lot of moving parts, but unfortunately, it's really good for us. So more vans that go on the road, the better it is for us because we still have vans available.
So what's it take to equip a van with the GPS
It's just a plug-in.
plug in?
That's
probably
something for the insurance.
No, unfortunately, no, because it's commercial.
And it's $14 a month
Mhm.
to have it there.
And it's fantastic. If you want to go through a demo that we can do, I mean, we can bring a van out and you can just play with it if you want to see it. I put it on my car per day and I'm like, yeah, I'm never putting a GPS on my vehicle. Just to kind of see how it works. And I'm like, I don't need anybody to
Someone was talking
know.
about-
And she would say, "Be
The other
great."
day about us putting it on our police vehicles.
Yeah.
Police vehicles.
Mhm. You can see if where they're parking in your county or not overnight. So, thank you. If anybody has any questions or wants to see more detail, let me know.
I had a question, just thinking about how many employees you said are returning to work Monday.
Yeah.
Do you all have an idea of, in our 7 counties and our 2 counties, how many employees are returning to work in a certain amount of time? I mean, how that could affect traffic counts on roads? Is there a way to even track that?
I haven't seen the, that's the first I've heard of the Fort Knox with the number. I'm not sure exactly what the numbers are.
No, because I don't know where they live. That doesn't necessarily, that was an email. We've gotten some really interesting emails. I got an email saying that Elon Musk is forcing him to go back to the office. I mean, I got one that said Doge is making me go to work. I mean, I got some good ones. So the 1,500 actually came from the administrator for HRC. But I don't have a breakdown on what counties they actually live in. You know, that could be that 1,000 of them live in Hardin County.
You know, think about the stress on that road there, whatever road goes there, or roads, plural. You know, if they have a traffic count and then since COVID, those numbers have been away, but now they're gonna hit all at once.
Yeah, so you could probably go back, but see, that's Hardin County. I don't know if we have that data.
One thing that's been interesting.
You would be
about-
able to look at the February 2020 data.
Yeah, one thing, we tracked it during the COVID era, like with some of our data tools on how it's changing trends. It's counterintuitive, but we're still driving almost as much in the morning peak hour. The morning peak hour from 6 till 9 was where we saw the biggest drop off. The afternoon peak hour was negligible because I guess people are still gonna go run some errands, even if they were forced to work at home. So the amount of traffic during it was kind of, and work from home people, they don't sit at their house all day long, from start to finish. They're still gonna go get out too. So I agree with you that I think with your premise that it's gonna be, taxing on in the Fort Knox area. And,
Especially, yeah.
Yeah, but is it gonna be recognizable on I-65? I don't know. That might be a stretch just because there's so much traffic on the roads already.
I mean, we picked up in my county, we picked up occupational tax from people working at home. But I still have 80-some hundred people drive out of the county every day to work.
Right.
And, you know, I have a road that has 17,400 cars a day. And about every other month, we have fatalities on that road that we're focusing all of our efforts on. But, you know, when you change, if you change the road 5% in population, you know, that's big. 10%, that's really big. Because we're already at 110% as we are, or 150% as we are.
So what KIPDA utilizes is some data known as journey to work data, and that's maybe some of the same things you're mentioning. County to county flows. How many are commuting into Spencer County to work at a Spencer County workplace? How many Spencer Countyans are commuting to Jefferson or to Shelby or to Hardin County in this case? Unfortunately, there's a lag on that, and that lag is probably at least a year, let's say. So will we be able to compare 2025, 26 to the, let's say, the COVID era? Yes, we will in time, and that maybe we can make some decisions about, you know, some of the investments that we might make based on that. But unfortunately, it's gonna take a little bit. We've got some tools, and Aaron Maselli over there can run some of, I talk a lot about our streetlight data, and some of that can be more real time. It's not real time, but maybe we can stop month over month instead of year over year, or 5-year rolling average over 5-year rolling average, which isn't really always compelling. But there are many counties in this region where more people in the workforce commute to a job outside of their county. Spencer County, I believe, is among them. Bullitt County is definitely this too. More people commute outside of the county for a job than work in that county, right? I think Bullitt County used to be like 3-to-1 Jefferson. 3 times as many people that lived in Bullitt, worked in Jefferson, than lived in Bullitt and worked in Bullitt. And some of those trends have changed, like you're saying, for COVID and other reasons, work from home and other reasons. But that's some key fundamental changes that are once in a generation, or once, this is the only time it's ever changed probably over any of our lifetimes. It's always grown, especially in suburban counties, the influence of the suburban growth.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions for Ms. Schiller? Okay, thank you, Ms. Schiller, appreciate it. Next up is item number 10. This is the CE division contract. Ms. Hart.
Good afternoon. This is agenda item number 10, and you can find it on page 30. Now I'm asking for approval for KIPDA to enter into a contract with the local water company. This is to administer their private LSL replacement, which is known as for an economically disadvantaged area project. The amount will be $15,000 for 1 year. The action is requested.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead and entertain an emotion then for this with Louisville Water Company contract for $15,000. Do I have a motion? Second. Any other questions? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Ms. Harper, you're up next with the grant agreement with the Kentucky Cabinet for Economic Development.
And you will find this on page 34 in your packet. This is asking for KIPDA to sign a grant agreement with the Kentucky Cabinet for Economic Development. This is for the matching funds of 2024, which we applied for the reconnecting Simply Portland to the Riverfront project. This is the amount of the contract that we will be receiving funds for is $13,377,600. So action is requested.
Do I hear a motion? Have a second? Second. Any other questions? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Next, legislative update. Yes, Ethan, how you doing?
Well. All right, I'm gonna go over some of the bills that are being considered in Kentucky and Indiana, these general assemblies. Now you should have a bill tracker in your packet. It should be in a separate attachment. And also in the board meeting email, there should be a link to the bill tracker. Now, after today, this bill tracker, the physical copy is gonna be out of date, but you can click that link in that email. And that's always up to date when you click that link, so you can use that throughout session. So in Kentucky, the first bill we'll talk about is House Bill 16. That's the bill that makes water fluoride programs optional. That bill passed the House yesterday and is now being considered in the Senate. House Bill 35, that's the bill that deals with payments to counties for the lodging of prisoners. The bill has not moved. It is still sitting in the House Appropriations and Revenue Committee. House Bill 253, that's the centralized collection of occupational license fees. Now that bill has not moved either and is also sitting in Appropriations and Revenue. House Bill 368, that is the bill that deals with alternate publications and allowing all local governments to use those alternate publication procedures. That bill passed out of the House yesterday, now sitting in the Senate. House Bill 546, that is establishing a local access road program. The proposed grant would allow counties and cities to submit rehabilitative projects up to $500,000. The bill is still waiting for a vote in the House. House Bill 605, that bill deals with the grant program. It expands who can apply for the program and expands the list of qualified federal entities. It also allows for a 6-month extension. And it also allows the cabinet to transfer funds between the different pools of money. Senate bill, and that bill was voted out of committee on Tuesday. Senate Bill 28, that creates a new agricultural economic development program. That bill passed out of the Senate unanimously and is waiting to be heard in the House. Senate Bill 63, I know that was a bill that I was asked to watch. That is the street legal special purpose vehicle bill. And that was voted out of the Senate yesterday. Or I'm sorry, it was voted out of the Senate committee on yesterday. House Joint Resolution 30, that is going to release funds from the Kentucky Waters Fund. It includes $1.3 million for Trimble County Fiscal Court for the Bedford Septic System Station. House Joint Resolution 46, that outlines the county priority projects funded for fiscal year 2026. According to KIPDA, where I got this number from, is it's funding $22.6 million in projects, but there are $137.5 million of projects eligible for funding. There's also bills relating to affordable housing and planning and zoning. House Bill 18 is starting to move and was voted out of committee on Tuesday. That bill would treat any density development project proposed in a traditional single-family home zone to be treated as if it was an amendment to the zoning map, which would it would have to be approved by the local government governing body. House Bill 160, that passed on the House floor on Tuesday. That bill would prohibit a local government from adopting or enforcing zoning regulations that treat manufactured homes differently than single-family homes. Local governments would still be able to regulate cosmetic standards, setbacks, and lot dimensions and orientation. Those are the main bills I wanted to discuss today. The veto period is from March 15th to March 26th, and then the last day of session, would be March 28th. I'll pause there for the Kentucky section to see if there's any question.
Thank you.
173, House Bill 173.
173. The rental properties, that is, still in, House Local Government Committee.
An occupational tax bill that you say is sitting in appropriations, does that mean it sit there, or it come out of there any day, or what?
For the centralized collection, yeah, I mean, the options would be it starts to move and gets voted out of committee. The other option is late in session, it gets thrown into an amendment somewhere and gets voted out.
I would send a resolution for us to pass at the city council and send it back up to League of Cities.
I've seen others do that as well, so that would be an option for sure.
It's gonna go to a study.
I heard it's dead.
Yeah, it hasn't moved, so.
What about the bill about zoning density?
Yeah,
You said that bill's not moving either. Have they changed the provisions of that?
For manufactured housing.
Not manufactured housing,
for,
middle housing.
yeah, let's see, there was 4 minutes filed, there is a committee substitute on it. So I can't quite remember what was added into it, but I can get you those details and send that out.
Where are they considered a manufactured home? Is that a single wide trailer or is that
It's not trailers, it requires a permanent foundation. And you can still have those standards, but they can't be more stringent than what is for single family
Your
homes.
HOA, neighborhood HOA would cover you. I mean, the HOA could put in there that these are not allowed.
So that's how you get around that.
Yeah, so I mean, in all reality, for a manufactured home that you put on a foundation is considered a stick-built home. It was just built in a factory.
Right.
And put together. But most HOAs, if you're gonna do subdivision, they're gonna have that regulation that they won't typically say these aren't allowed, but they will have their own regulations.
Deed restriction.
Deed restrictions, yes.
Well, if you wanna make a whole new development, create a whole new HOA.
Then that would, if that developer decides that these are allowed, let's say the manufactured subdivision, yes.
Then you can allow.
It won't protect you if, Shelby County, 5 acres,
Correct. Yeah.
they can be, because it's considered a stick-built home.
Better when you put a duplex into $300,000 subdivision.
Yeah.
300,000 won't build too much.
But you'll have a lot of duplexes in it.
All right, any other questions or comments? If not, I'll move on to Indiana. All right, so the first one is Senate Bill 1, relates to property tax. The bill caps, the maximum levy growth, quotient, the MLGQ at 0% for 2026, 1% in 2027, and 2% in 2028. According to the fiscal note, this would cost local government revenue to reduce $688 million over that 3 years. The bill passed the Senate on February 17th, is now in the House awaiting action. House Bill 1312 allows local governments to post public notices on a state-run searchable website instead of requiring them to publish the notices with a newspaper. The bill passed the House on February 18th and is now in the Senate. House Bill 1461, the bill makes various changes to the county and municipal wheel tax and excise tax, pacer ratings, community crossings fund, and other changes. That bill passed the House on February 20th. The budget's still being considered and moving through the process. If that passed out on the 20th and is now in the Senate, we'll continue to provide updates on the content of that in its final form as it moves through that process in the late stages of the game. So the conference committee reports and third readings, the deadline for those in Indiana is April 15th, and then the expected last day for adjournment would be April 29th. That's what I've got.
Yeah, Indiana does what they call crossover time. They're off for a week now, so we're in the middle of the legislative session. And then everything that was in the Senate now moves to the House and the House moves that. So it's kind of a unique process and everything. So they'll be back in session starting next week.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ethan. All right, next up is item number 13, home care commercial.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. So first, we would like to present to you, recently, we met with the Department for Aging and Independent Living about our home care program, talking about our services and the services we provide in the area that have ebbed and flowed since COVID. One of our challenges now is that we have a great provider base, but we need more clients coming in. So we decided to go big on that and create a home care commercial that we could advertise to all of our counties, to individuals, and we're gonna play that for you today, so.
Ready?
Yes.
Help older adults thrive in their own space with KIPDA Home Care Services for ages 60 and up. We help with personal care, homemaking, and can escort you to your medical appointments. Also, we offer caregivers relief. With KIPDA, your costs are supported based on your income. Some people pay nothing. Live your life to the fullest in your own home with KIPDA Home Care Services. Visit KIPDA.org or call 502-266-5571.
As you can see, they did a pretty good job on that, and we're running a commercial for several weeks. And I'm getting ready to ask you for some approval on that, our next agenda item. Has anybody got questions or comments about our home care program?
I have questions.
The board had approved this advertisement a couple months ago. This was currently running on WDRB. But.
Yes, WDRB and we're seeking, advertisement on Wave and WLKY as well.
But to Jessica's point, we're really trying to drive up those home care numbers. We're really struggling to add clients. We've got the funding, we have the providers, but we need the clients to provide the services to them.
We're also doing a mass push out to every religious organization in the 7-county region as well, and then some 501c3. So we've done some mass mailings with some flyers too. So
Could you touch just a little bit so everybody knows when we say home care, because it is kind of broad, what kind of
Sure.
services are included?
Oh, absolutely. So it's our in-home service program in our division, and it does give you a few hours a week of personal care, so that hands-on care, bathing, grooming, dressing, homemaking, things like preparing your meals. It also has persons that can go to the pharmacy or the grocery store for you, escort to non-emergency medical appointments, and some other various things, respite for your caregiver. So
if someone's living alone in their home, you can go and help. I have an 88-year-old lady.
absolutely, you should let her know about our services or let us know about her. Yeah.
Just like me, stay here.
There are some income guidelines, but 99.9% of our people don't pay a fee for any services, so just know that as well.
So it's not based on your income.
It is based on your income, but very few people actually have a fee. And we work ways around that. There's certain deductions that you can take for things that you pay out of pocket as well, but sometimes there is a fee associated. But very few, less than 1%, I believe so.
Okay.
I think this is a good outreach. I was always partial to senior programs in every job I had. So I would make a motion to approve this.
We're gonna get to that on the next one.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you,
Jack. So we'll go ahead and move on to item number 14, and that's the fiscal year 25 social services.
Yeah, so this is gonna be agenda item number 14 on page 35 in your packets, I believe. And actually, Chairman, I think I can take all of these together, so I'll walk through each one and then see if there's any questions. So the first one is the FY25 contract for the home care commercial for WDRB for $10,250. Our second one is to add some equipment to our KHB, that's our Connect program subcontractor amendment. That's for the Louisville Metro Office of Resilience and Community Services, $2,000. The third one is to add additional funds to our Louisville Metro Senior Nutrition Program. As you all know, there's no paying the brakes on nutrition, so We're asking to modify that C2 contract, which is home delivered meals. And then the last one is to our Title 3B contract, which is requesting an approval to an amendment for our Get There drivers. So the Get There drivers have not had an increase since we started the program. We're trying to get more in line with where Uber and Lyft and other community services are transporting, so we're asking for a little raise there.
All right, there are 4 items listed there in your packet. And I think we can take them all together.
We can take them all together, so yes,
Okay.
sir.
So on item number 14, requesting a motion to approve.
That was the time to do this.
You already got it, Jack?
Jack?
We're on it. Who's gonna second? Second over here. Any other questions or discussion? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Okay, thank you very much. Next, we've got the financial management service.
I'm gonna slow down and read this one. I lost my breath on the last one. But as you all know, in our waiver program, we are now doing, services, FMS, or FMA services, financial management services for outside agencies that do PDS case management. And we are adding them, fairly quickly. So this is, a request for ratification of our executive director's signature for the contract for Can Help and the Old Home Place. Those 2 contracts were signed since the last board meeting. I think we're now up to 14 altogether, and we've got 2 more in the queue, so we are growing.
What does that mean?
The FMS, so we do their, financial management, their payroll services. Just like our waiver program here, we've always done both sides of the fence, case management, and then we do payroll for the employees that they employ out in the community, so they're helpers that they hire. So now we're doing that for agencies that are certified in case management, but don't have a financial manager. And we are making money. So you want to know, we're doing very well there. And we anticipate that it's gonna grow even more because there was a fix, if you will, that needed to take place in the system before they could actually ramp all the way up. And that's supposed to occur this week, so we're going to see more and more growth in that program in the months to come and years to come.
Mayor, to address the waiting list for people for services, the Department for Aging and Medicaid opened it up for additional outside case management providers. So they started getting certified in October. So, but they did not have anybody to provide that financial management services. So they asked the area development districts across the Commonwealth to step in and fill that gap. Nobody else was willing, but KIPDA stepped in, and that is how we've grown the program so quickly.
We're still the only one.
So it's helping serve our constituents that need services, while, as Jessica said, it's also proven to be financially beneficial for the agency.
Yeah, we'll see hundreds of people on this program for sure.
Okay.
So just asking for ratification for that signature.
Any other questions? No, I'll ask for a motion to approve the financial management services.
Motion.
Thank you.
Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Any other questions? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carried.
Thank you. Thanks for all that you do.
Thank you, Ms. Oak. Next is the senior nutrition program. Ms. Hurst.
Yes. My name's Vicki Hurst. I'm the nutrition coordinator here at KIPDA. And so just to give a little update of what's going on in the senior nutrition world. So, our numbers from 2024, in the home delivered meal program of meals served, was just over, 369,000. That's up from 2023, of 367,000, so just around the 1,700 increase for meal delivery. In our congregate program, which is program or meals that are served out into the community in senior centers or partners with senior feeding programs, there was a slight decrease from 2023 to 2024, around probably 1,200 meals served. And our largest provider, Louisville Metro Senior Nutrition Program, has decided they are trying to change some programming to get more people to come back into the facilities. We're working next week. I have an appointment with them to go out to a new facility to do a site visit to see if this place is going to be better for individuals to come in and see if they have better participation. So we're hoping that that will grow their program. With that, Jessica said that senior nutrition is not stopping. So last year, at the middle to end of last year, Governor Bashir made a statement that no senior should have to wait for a meal, which means that all AAAs are required to not have a wait list. So us as KIPDA, we have a very large population that we serve. And so we had quite a few people that were waiting to be assessed. To mitigate those, the wait time for individuals to get a meal, we have hired 2 new assessors, and they are solely focusing on assessing new clients. We continue to partner with Dare to Care with emergency meal assistance. I have an appointment with them to sign a new annual agreement. And what that is that they will supply us with emergency meal boxes because we are a supplemental program and not an emergency fix program. And so clients that we come in contact with that need immediate assistance, we can have food from Dare to Care and we can deliver it to the individual's home. So I think the biggest update for the senior nutrition program is that we have acquired a grant from Ford for their mobility food pilot program. And what that is it's a $100,000 grant for the rural communities to have fresh farm produce and protein delivered to their door. And this is solely focusing on our outer counties. And with part of this grant, we are required to partner with local farmers or local businesses in those areas. So I come here today to ask you all, as pillars in your community, if you know of agricultural communities or committees that you are either part of or you have information of that would like to partner with KIPDA to supply those products to make these meal boxes. We are doing the planning process of things. So we're doing this needs assessments, we're getting with Ford to their volunteer base, but our largest hurdle is to get the products that we need to be able to supply these boxes. So today, I will be waiting around after the meeting to, if anyone knows of an agriculture community or if you have any information or you want my information, that we can team up and partner and you guys can become part of this contract, then we would greatly appreciate it. And that's all I got. Any questions?
Any questions?
You've been to all the farmers markets?
We haven't started yet, so that's where, if sometimes counties have like farmers markets association, so we would like to be able to get in with the people that are the executive community of that, or the people that are in charge of those things. So
Is this a program through the Department of Agriculture or?
it's through Ford Motor Company is where the grants for. And they are focusing on rural areas to partner with local farmers and protein producers.
Do you know what certifications they're gonna have to be able to do the produce and all that stuff? Because there's certain standards that
Right.
they'll have to be done, so.
Not
I'd be
that
interested.
we have.
They have not stipulated anything directly to us. I know that, out towards your way, we are reaching back out to Berry Center and the name slips on my meet for. Thank you, Trackside. I don't know why that one won't stick out. We're gonna reach out to them. The multi-purpose region is a little bit different. We don't really have good connections there. So if any of y'all have any good connections there with local farmers associations, like she said, farmers markets, et cetera, so forth. We're looking to pack about 2 proteins and then fruits and vegetables in a $50-$60 box. It's not, huge. It's gonna be smaller and they're gonna be delivered with our home delivered meals. So
Around 130 clients.
around 130 clients altogether. So,
Is that weekly?
we're trying to do it once a month.
So this would be in addition to what they already get from a KIPDA program weekly, so.
And I would think in most, I think I can speak for John and
Dan in the rural counties to reach out to the extension offices, and they can hook you up with all the growers.
Right.
That, and then they're already participating in some of these farmers markets. I guess some of them go year round, don't you, John? They sell meat and
Yeah.
soaps and all that kind of stuff, but, you know, not naturally the vegetables will be in season, but the extension agents can hook you up with all the farmers markets in each county.
Right. Thank you.
And all those are eager for more sales.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, thank you, Ms. Hirsch. Next item on our agenda is the Grandparents Raising Grandchildren Program. Ms. Hall?
My name's Mary Hall. I'm the coordinator for Grandparents Raising Grandchildren. Just want to give you a couple of highlights on how we've grown. In 2023, we served 188 grandparents, 278 grandkids. In 2024, we served 168 grandparents, with 338 grandkids. And now this year, we served 72 grandparents so far and 151 grandkids. About 28% of those grandparents are new to the program and haven't been enrolled before. Currently, we have a total of 270 grandparents in the program, along with 546 grandkids, which means we still have 200 established grandparents to serve, along with their 395 grandkids. And we did receive additional funding to support that. That's all I have.
Any questions?
How do you find out those grandparents and grandkids, where do you find them?
Everywhere.
I mean, how do you locate them?
A lot of them, they tell each other. I think our biggest, help with that is word of mouth. But I do go and do outreach a lot.
You have to reapply every year for that program?
Yes, it's an annual program. But the grandkids can be in it until they're at the age of 18.
And it's, that program, with your application each year, we're designated to serve those who haven't been served before, so we're getting new ones, we're serving them first and then serving, second. As Mary Ann said, we did receive some additional funding, we could do some more.
Yes.
If they're willing to give us some more by the end of the year.
Yes, I can serve them if I have the money.
On
Because,
the program.
yeah, actually the money that we receive will cover, if every grandparent submitted an application, that extra money would not cover all the applications. There's a great need for this though.
All right, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Ms. Hall. Next item, item number 18, here's the mid-year budget revision. Ms. Shaw.
Thank you. Page 37 is our mid-year budget. And so I will be highlighting some of the significant adjustments that we made to our original budget. So starting with salaries and fringe, we decreased by 625,698, and this was our full-time and part-time staff, including fringe. And this was across all divisions due to the vacancies that we had in the first 6 months of the fiscal year. Okay, so the software, our next line that I wanted to bring up was the software maintenance. We increased it by 61,728, which includes software for indirect and the billing adjustments in transportation. We had advertising increases that were 26,052, which includes the majority of the social services media spring campaign with a lot of the advertising that they're doing this spring. And then we have contract services. We decreased it by 335,575, and this was through transportation. They received a FRA grant for 500,000, but the contractor did not need that much in funds, so we reduced that budget for what was needed because we wouldn't be able to spend after this last period. We also have increases in telephone by 7,659 due to the increases in staff in social services. We also increased our travel in the region by 13,620 due to the same with the increase in staff. We have office maintenance increases at 40,221, and this was to support the renovation of our bathrooms before we have our transportation moving into this building. We also had outreach materials that we decreased by 43,217, and this was due to social service implementing a cap on the KHB outreach materials. We also have minor equipment increases of 56,318, and this was due to some new computers and printers for KHBE and other new positions in social services. Anybody have any questions?
Nope. Good report. Make the motion to approve your budget amendments.
We have a motion to approve the budget revision. Do we have a second? Second. Any other questions? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you, Ms. Shaw.
Thank you.
The next item is our February personnel report. You got that for us, Jared?
I do. We have two new hires that began since we last met, and they were what Ricky referenced earlier. Ashley Satt began February 5th as a nutrition assessor, and Eugene Harmon began February 10th also as a nutrition assessor. We've had one departure. That was Tracy Leffler, who is an ADR team specialist too. And currently, we are advertising for 4 open positions: a service advisor, and all these are in the Division of Social Services. A service advisor, a registered nurse, an occupational therapist, and going towards our growing FMA program, additional FMA payroll and documentation specialist. Our current staff count is 82 full-time permanent, 4 part-time permanent, and 3 part-time temporary. Action is requested to approve this report. Or accept this report.
Have a motion to approve February personnel report. And a second?
Second.
Any other questions? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Executive Director's report.
Thank you. First, I want to just recognize Deputy Judge Ender, who joined us after the roll call from Oldham County, as well as Mayor Carol Pike from Baytown. Thank you all, everybody, for being here today. And additionally, I want to welcome some of our guests. We have James Victory here from Congressman Guthrie's office. James, do you have anything you'd like to share, Drew?
Well, I'm looking at Twitter before I give you any update. I just gotta see what's happened the last 30 minutes. So yeah, as you guys know, it's been a little while, these last couple of months, but the House did pass the budget resolution, which will just to reconciliation. It looks like they're on the path towards a single reconciliation bill as of right now, but that's really fluid. So there's not a ton I can tell you that's going on right there, because as I said, it's really fluid. But there is starting to become discussion that earmarks may come back around this session. It's just like everything else. It's as of right now, very up in the air. But if you are one of Congressman Guthrie's member counties, which I don't think Bullitt or Jefferson is in here right now, so they may not. But so I'll defer to my friend Stacy over there on how Congressman Massey wants to do it. But to the KIPDA staff, we are just asking that just be prepared, because we'll probably get about a week notice to drop anything. So if you have projects, just make sure. And we've been going through a lot of these lists, so it shouldn't be too hard. But if it comes, it'll probably be next month or so, and it'll be all hands on deck. So, any questions? That's in my report.
Thank you.
And then from Congressman Massey's office, Stacy Rothway. Stacy, thanks for being here today. Do you have anything to share?
Certainly, I'm really happy I'm here and not in DC. I don't really have a report. If the earmarks happen, just, contact me or the office if you prefer. And, we'll get the, request stuff to the staff and see what happens.
Thanks, Stacy. We do have 2 items of travel for your all's consideration. The first is the Purdue Road School. That's March 18th to 19th in West Lafayette, Indiana, and that would be attended by Andy Rush. And the second item is Transportation Research Board's National Conference on Pools of the Trade. That's June 22nd, 25th in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and that total of $2,085. So those 2 items are up for consideration. Action is requested.
A motion to accept these travel requests.
Mike.
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carried.
And finally, just the meetings for next month. We'll have the Transportation Technical Coordinating Meeting on March 12th here in the Burke Room and on Zoom at 1 o'clock. And then on March 27th, we'll have the Transportation Policy Committee meeting here in this room. And then immediately following, we'll have the board meeting at 2 o'clock. So again, thank you all for being here today. Oh, one last thing, we did have a very successful ad day in Frankfurt, and I want to thank Judge Ison and Judge Summers for being there. They who represent the Kentucky Council or KIPDA Kentucky Council, and then Mayor Ethington also came to represent Kentucky for KIPDA at the luncheon. So thank you all for attending.
Any other business?
I got one thing I wanna say.
Yes, sir.
There's probably not a week that goes by that I don't talk to one of the members, that's getting the staff, and Trimble County really appreciates, all y'all do for us. So I just wanna say thank you to Derek and staff, and also wanna thank Judge Couch for, willing to be on this board, and, hope one day that maybe I can fill his shoes as county judge, cause he's been instrumental in, the growth of Trimble County and work that right now, so.
I could appreciate that. I hope the same thing for me sitting in this seat.
Okay. Any other comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion. A motion, have a second? Second. We do. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. We are adjourned. Thank you all very much. Have a wonderful day. Be safe.